to the channel. It is now Year of the Ox. Yesterday was the Lunar New Year, so it's now a weekend and I've been excited to be making oxtail soup. I went to the butcher and picked up 2 pounds of oxtails. So the first step in this, I'm gonna do it Hawaiian style. So the first step is to oil, or actually simmer, the oxtails for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then drain that water, rinse off the oxtails, cut any fat off, and then put aromatics and put chicken broth, and that's gonna actually make the soup. The reason why we're doing this, you're like, why are you throwing away all that great flavor? Well, I want this soup to be very clear, and this oxtail has a lot of impurities in it. There's the bones, there's the blood and everything. Well, I want to get rid of all that. So you're not really losing too much flavor because you're going to be building flavor later, and there's bones, and that adds a lot of flavor. There's a lot of collagen in here. So we're going to be making oxtail soup today. Follow along, and here we go. Right here I have the oxtail. Start with some cold water, bring it up to a simmer, and I'm going to simmer this for 20 minutes. Any impurities that come up, and I'll show you, I'm going to skim those off and get rid of them. All right, you can start to see that it's starting to come up to a simmer. I'm going to lower this a little bit so it's not a rapid boil. And you can start to see the scum right here. These are all the impurities that are in there. So this is the blood that's coagulating and coming to the top, and anything else that's in there. This is what we don't want. And you can see how this broth, this water now is murky, where before when we started it was clear. This is the reason why we want to throw out all this liquid. And we're going to set the timer for 20 minutes. All right, that's the end of the 20 minutes. You can see taking a lot off of the scum off of here. I'll take just a little bit more. Okay, now that the 20 minutes have gone by and the broth is a little bit cleaner, we're gonna go to the sink and dump this out. Okay, I have the oxtails here now, and you want to trim them up of any fat. So here you can see there's a little chunky fat that's gone. You can see this one's a bigger one, chunky fat right here. I want to trim that off. That part's gone. That's going to be okay right there. These are actually not too bad. Sometimes you get them and there's a lot of fat. Like here, there's a big chunk of fat right there. Cut that out of there. And now this meat is really tough. That's why it's going to cook for another 3 hours to get this really tender. So some of it you can kind of scrape off. So I'm going to continue going through all these and continue the process of this wonderful soup. All right, let's talk about the aromatics of this soup. So what we're going to be adding to the soup, and I have it all prepped up, is, see if we can adjust this. There we go. All right, so I have shiitake mushrooms. These are dry shiitake mushrooms. You can use whole or sliced already. I happen to have the sliced ones. Next, I have the orange peel from the mandarins that I dried. This is called star anise. And this has a licorice, black licorice sweetness flavor to it. And then I have a 2-inch piece of fresh ginger, thinly sliced. This is all going to be added to the broth, to the actual soup of the broth later. The other 2 components are dry roasted peanuts Preferably raw. I couldn't get the raw ones. See, these are roasted, but what you want to do is to make sure that they're unsalted. And the other ingredient is salt. And for this, I use the Hawaiian sea salt. All right, so now is when we're gonna start putting the soup together. So we're gonna add the blanched oxtails back to the soup pot. I'm gonna turn this on. Add in the chicken broth. Now if you want to add half chicken broth, half beef broth, that's fine. If you want to do water, that's fine. It'll just become, it won't be as intense. If you want to do all beef, that's fine. We're going to add in the peanuts. We're going to add the shiitake mushrooms, dried orange peel, star anise, and ginger. We're going to give this a little stir right here. And we're going to add the Hawaiian salt. 1 teaspoon of Hawaiian salt. I'm going to actually add just a little bit less. So we're going to adjust that later. Alright, this soup is going to simmer for 3 hours. Alright, to the soup later, we're going to add some of this choy sum. Now this choy sum, we're going to chop up. We're going to kind of add this in the last 10 minutes of the soup. If you could find mustard greens, Chinese style mustard greens, that would be fine. That's what's recommended. But near the stores where I'm at, I can't find them. So I'm going to cut these in half and then just roughly chop it. They're going to wilt down. And so I'm going to get this done. This is what's going to go in the soup. Then we have garnishes that go in the bowl of the soup once you plate it up. And that's green onions, which I have here. So you put some sliced green onions and then some cilantro. That's what goes inside on the top. On the side, you serve it with rice, steamed white rice, and then you take some ginger and you grate some ginger and you put some ginger and some soy sauce, shoyu, and that's what goes on the side, and you dip your oxtail in there and your rice and you eat everything together. Okay, let's grate some ginger. This is one of the sides, one of the condiments for this oxtail soup, Hawaiian style oxtail soup. So this is a ginger grater plate. So it has these bumps and grooves right here. So you just do this in a circle motion and you'll notice you'll get this ginger. Okay, so it's been 3 hours that it's been simmering. I just cranked up the heat because we're gonna add some of the Chinese greens. So you want to check to see if it's fork tender. You take one of these oxtails. Ooh, here we go. And I can already tell it's fork tender. You can see how that meat just comes right out. So this is ready. The meat's definitely ready. What we'll do now is add in the choy sum. Now if you have other Chinese greens, Asian greens, go ahead and add those. Okay, these greens are gonna go for 10 minutes and we're gonna get this wilted down. Then we're gonna serve this soup up. One thing that you wanna take out are gonna be, there's a couple things. Orange peel. So you wanna fish these out of here. And we also wanna fish out any pieces of ginger. I just ate a piece and it's pretty soft, it's not intense. But if you don't want that ginger in there, go ahead and take it out. It's not a big deal. I'm gonna leave it in, but I don't wanna bite into the orange peel while I'm eating this soup. So I'm gonna take this part out. Okay, so now it's time to present the oxtail soup, the Hawaiian oxtail soup. We have steamed rice here, the grated ginger, soy sauce, shoyu. Now, usually when you go to a restaurant, bowling alley, diner, they're gonna put about 2 oxtails, sometimes 3 depending on on where you go and ladle this wonderful broth on top. So this is what I have going on over here. I'm gonna ladle that broth on there. Make sure we get some of these greens. Now, I see the star anise right here. So I'm gonna take the star anise out, but keep it in the broth. This is a vintage soup spoon from Hawaii. So, to garnish it, to serve this, you want to put some cilantro, garnish it with some green onions, and that right here is Hawaiian Oxtail soup. When you eat it, there's two ways. Well, there's probably a lot of different ways, but I know there's two ways. One, you can take the meat and you're going to take some of it off of the bone. It's kind of tedious, but if you're having a good conversation, it doesn't really matter. And then you mix it here, dip it on the rice, and eat it. The other way to serve it is to completely take this all off and have the meat floating in there. Take some ginger, put some of this ginger in here, drizzle in some of the soy sauce, the shoyu. This is what I like to do. Then I can just eat it. And then I have the rice and I have the oxtail soup. So, your choice, your preference, whatever makes sense to you, do it how you like it at home. Just know that at the restaurant, usually you get it with the bone, and then you have to kind of work at it, which is kind of the fun part. Thanks for watching the video about oxtail soup in Hawaii. The history of it comes from China, and the Okinawans that were in Hawaii working the plantations. They adopted the recipe, and the way I made it is kind of basically how they did it back in the day. So it's in Hawaii, it's like chicken soup is in the United States on the mainland, is how oxtail soup is out on the islands. You can get it almost anywhere. In fast food places have it, the local, like Zippy's has it, and then you can go to bowling alleys and they have it. Restaurants are known for having it, like that's their specialty. And then every family, of course, is gonna have their version of it. So explore what you like from it. Like I said before, beef broth, or stock, chicken, or the combination of both. You can add noodles instead of rice. You can not do any of that. You can make fried rice and serve it with it, which is really good too. And because cattle ranching was popular in Hawaii, the ranchers would cut the tails off, and that's really where it comes from the steer it's the tail of a steer. And they would, because there's not much to it. The meat takes a long time to cook, and it wasn't as cost effective to sell in the markets or to sell to anybody. So they would give it to the ranch hands, and they would take it home and they would braise it all day, or they would boil it and simmer it all day. And that's what they would do. So anyway, some local places on the mainland, if you're in Vegas, California Hotel in downtown Vegas has a great bowl. I mean, it's great. And I think they're open 24 hours. I remember going late, or early in the morning, however you want to look at it, one night and having it. Gardena Bowling Alley has a really good one. And now you can just make it at home since traveling is really tough right now. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. Happy New Year. It's Year of the Ox. Hopefully there's some good luck this year that comes with it and good fortune. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks. Bye.